Quorum?
Thank you, Madam President. Councilor Baker. Councilor Campbell. Councilor Siomo. Councilor Asabi George. Councilor Flaherty. Councilor Jackson. Councilor Lamatina.
Here.
Councilor Linehan. Councilor McCarthy. Councilor O'Malley. Councilor Presley. Councilor Wu.
Present.
And Councilor Zachem. Madam President.
And Councilor Flaherty as well.
And he is Councilor Flaherty.
Thank you. We have a quorum. At this time, I'd like to ask all councilors and guests to please rise, and I will pass over the podium to Councilor Lamatina, who will introduce our faith leader for the day. After the invocation is delivered, please remain standing, and Councilor Lamatina will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Madam President. Today is my last time that I can invite the clergy to come to the City Council chamber. And I wanted to invite Deacon Vinny Leo to be here today because he's someone that I have looked up to for many, many years. He's an East Bostonian, and he has worked in the city of Boston for 41 years. And over my 30 years working in the city, I don't know how many times I have called Vinny Leo for advice or for help. And I know a lot of you who have been working here before Deacon Leo retired in 2010 have called. But I had the chance to witness Deacon Leo be ordained at the Holy Cross Cathedral. And he's just a great, great guy. And I love him dearly. So with that, it's my honor to introduce Deacon Vinny Leo. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Lamatina. Very hard to follow. But when Councilor Lamatina called me last week, I started to really think about how did I get to and how did Sal and I meet? And I started to remember that it was in Commissioner Kazaz's office. Commissioner called me in, and I had always heard Sal's name in East Boston, but I really never met him. So when I got into the commissioner's office, he introduced me to the counselor at that time, Mr. Lamatina, and we really did hit it off. He was working at the Central Artery, and I could actually remember what we were talking about. It was rodent control. So, I mean, that is like 30 years ago. And then when he decided to run for city councilor, I felt that he was the best candidate and probably one of the best that could possibly come out of East Boston. I was extremely happy in 2006. And I remember you invited us to your swearing-in ceremony. So I thank you with that. That Easter Day, and I have to really talk about that because my parents every year look forward to Easter Friday. So I thank you. So as Mr. Lamatina said, my name is Deacon Jim Leo, but everybody knows me as Vinny. And I've been in this council chamber many a times, and I always say that I had some bad times and good times. But you know, the good times were always cherished with those very good times sitting here with the commissioner. So let us begin as we always do in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Here in the city of Boston, that they use their resources wisely and well, and respect all citizens of Boston, and make decisions that promote the common good. We ask that you help them recognize their responsibilities to the past and to the future, and to the rights and the needs of both individuals and the communities. And as trusted servants of the city of Boston, dear God, we ask for your blessings on all of their present and future deliberations, that they may be enabled by your powerful protection and the ability. And as they move forward during this year of 2017, and dear Lord, we also ask you to bless and protect Councilor Lamatina and his family as they get ready to leave the Boston City Council for new endeavors. And Godspeed, Sal, on that. And may Almighty God bless all of us in the name of the Father and Son and the Holy Spirit.
I pledge allegiance
So we have 3 special presentations today, but before we get into our business of the day, I do just want to ask everyone in this chamber to join in a moment of silence for the victims and the families impacted in Manchester. Just a horrific act, and I know all of us in Boston have been sending our prayers, but let's just start with one moment of silence for everyone there. Thank you. And as I think all the counselors know, our former Central staff member, Dan Shea, who is now working at the British Embassy, also would like to announce that they have a condolence book available at their offices. It's in the lobby of the One Kendall building in Cambridge, if anyone would like to sign that. So for our first presentation, back to Councillor Lamatina.
You know, with every great man, there's a great woman. And today it's my honor to recognize somebody who's also from East Boston, who I have looked up for many, many years. She has served our city for 42 years, and that's Vivian Leal. She started. Vivian started working for the city, believe it or not, in 1974. And I believe she was stuffing envelopes at that time. But she started, as a senior accountant. She worked her way up to a principal accountant. Then she was a supervisor accountant. She was the second assistant collector treasurer at one time. She was the first assistant collector treasurer. Then she became the collector treasurer. And I can't tell you how many times that she sat in front of us at hearings, talking about the budget and all the different funds that she has. But 42 years, when you serve the city of Boston 42 years, that's because you really love the city and you care for the city. And every day, Vivian, you came to work with that. You really care for the city of Boston. You care about how the money was spent. And because she used to manage a lot of the funds, and so I would have to see her for some of the funds, one special fund that I have in the North End. But Vivian, it's an honor for someone, for myself, who has been working for the city for 30 years and leaving the city, who worked my way up, as a lifeguard, and here I am as a city councilor, to honor you who worked your way up. So with that, on behalf of all of us in the Boston City Council, we have an official resolution. Come over here. Come over here. She had no idea, folks, that this was happening today. But it's an official resolution, be resolved that the Boston City Council extends its congratulations to Vivian Leal in recognition of your dedication and commitment to the city of Boston. And be it further resolved that the Boston City Council extends its best wishes for continued success, that this resolution be duly signed by the President of the City Council and attested to, and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the City of Boston, and signed by Michelle Wu and all the Boston City Councilors. So congratulations.
I served 42 years, and I served for the taxpayers of the city of Boston, just like all of you. I know we care about the city, we care about the residents, so this is quite a surprise to me, but thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I want you on the Facebook. Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm easy. You know how the Italians are.
Yeah, I did good, huh? One more. Awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. For our second presentation, I'd like to invite up Councilor Presley.
Oh my goodness. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, as we settle back in. This Sunday, well, first let me just say, it is my honor to introduce to some and to reintroduce to others the Boston Warriors Dominoes League Incorporated. This Sunday, May 28th, they'll hold their annual Viva Mas Domino and Family Game Day. It's a Say No to Cancer tournament. A percentage of the proceeds will be donated to St. Jude Children's Hospital. And I want to bring up now and honor founder and president Aida Silva, who is a cancer survivor herself. All of you come. As well as Executive Secretary Idris Burgos for the outstanding efforts to utilize the sport of dominoes as an educational and therapeutic tool. This organization, the Boston Warriors Dominoes League Incorporated, is volunteer-based. All services are offered to the public at no cost. And I really do believe the Boston Warriors have been an incredible ambassador for dominoes and educated many through the sport. Their annual tournament preserves the tradition, recognizes international champions, and fosters a love and respect for this sport from people of every cultural background. And so I just wanted to give them an opportunity for those of you who've never heard of them to become more familiar with them, and so they can talk about this upcoming tournament. And I hope some of you will consider sponsoring, or perhaps those of you that are really brave, even participating. Unfortunately, it is not my skill, but maybe I can learn from some of the students, and I'll be more adept. But I want to bring up the founder and president, Aida, to say a few words.
This is like a surprise to me. Most of the time we are really busy working 7 days a week, 10 hours to help improve mental illness and to our community, and to help our students to be better in math and science. And thank you all. Thank you, Ms. Presley. And well, no words can describe what I'm feeling right now. All we want to do is to make our world a better place to live, healthier, wiser, and happier. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. 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 All right. Would everyone come up for a photo, please? You guys go right up here. Good. Okay. And then just hold that. Okay. All right. Thank you. Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you.
Thank you. And our third presentation today will be delivered by Councilor Sabi George.
Thank you, President Wu. And as I start, I'd like the folks that are here from the Scholar Athletes Group to come up. I am happy today to speak and introduce the Scholar Athletes Program, who's done so much for Boston's youth. I recently became a member of their board, and I do want to thank Councilor Presley for maybe suggesting to the board that I would be a good member. as I welcome them up, I just want to share a few words about their work. Those that benefit from Scholar Athletes' work boast exceptional GPAs, graduation rates, and incredibly high college acceptance rates. I know that athletic activity builds character, discipline, and interpersonal skills. It crafts well-rounded individuals who are better equipped to succeed academically and socially. I know it as a former coach, a mother of 4 athletes, and from my own experience in sports. And yet, Scholar Athletes' reach goes far beyond the classroom. Their athletic programs provide health benefits, positive role models, and day-to-day structure, all important to children in their formative years. These contributions have, in total, positively affected the lives of over 4,000 Boston students, making Scholar Athletes an integral member of our community. I'd like to welcome them today and just very quickly introduce the Executive Director, Rebecca Salwasser, as well as the rest of their team, but mention that they've brought their advisor from the Henderson School, Ms. Collins, with them today, and 2 students, Tyler and Canby. I think we're going to hear from Rebecca, from Ms. Collins, and then from at least Tyler or Canby. I'm not sure which will speak, but then I'll present them with their citation. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you, Counselor. Rebecca Salwasser, Executive Director of Scholar Athletes. Really just, she covered who we are and what we do, but really at the heart of our organization is the Zone. And the Zone is a large school-based learning center located within every single Boston Public High School. So we are in 19 buildings in Boston. We've expanded to Springfield and work in 3 Springfield Public High Schools as well. Further expansion this fall into Everett Public High School as well. But these zones are really the magic sauce of the organization. They're spaces that are dedicated to learning excellence, and we want to make sure that they're available to any student in the building. As mentioned, we work with over 4,000 young students from Boston and Springfield, and we work with them through 3 core program areas: academic coaching and mentoring, health and wellness, and post-secondary planning, really making sure that all the services we provide, whether that's scholarships or mentoring, SAT prep, homework help, that's all filtered through those 3 core program areas, which we know together equate to success for a young person in high school. So at the heart of these zones is a full-time staff member for BSA, and we have one today. Olivia Collins is here. She's our program coordinator at the Henderson. We have about 30 more Olivias that do the work across Boston and Springfield, but I think it's really important to understand that she's really the success at the heart and soul of the organization. She's the person that every single day, September to June, in these high schools, from the first bell to the last bell, and then after school, is working on building the relationships with our young people to make sure that they know that there's an advocate for them in the building, that they have someone that can navigate the pathways through high school, whether that's for college counseling, what time is practice, where's my uniform, who's my coach, all of that. That's what we try to provide, and all of that together equates to success for 4,000 young people in Boston and Springfield. So Olivia's going to say a few words about her work, and then we'll pass it off to our young people.
Good afternoon, everyone. Is it afternoon? Yeah, it is afternoon. I just want to say thanks for having us. I went to a Boston Public School. I went to BLS, and the Zone was created after my graduating year. And I think I would have gone a long way if I had a Zone available to me. But these kids make what I do really easy. Grading essays, helping them with ELA projects that are due in less than 24 hours, providing SAT prep, college experience, athletics. The students that you meet, if you get to meet these 2, they'll change your lives forever. So thank you for being here and allowing this day for us.
Just before Tyler and Canby speak, Rebecca earlier described when we were in the Curly Room, Olivia and advisors across the system as the secret sauce. And I do want to just share that Tyler and Canby both have an interest in medical careers. Tyler as a pediatrician and Canby as perhaps a nurse. And I think that encouragement that Olivia provides and the program provides is really incredible. And I'm so happy that we get to celebrate the 2 of them and hear from the 2 of them today.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tyler Andrade. I go to the Henderson School. And a little about me in the Zone is that if there was no Zone, I honestly think I don't know where I'd be right now. When I came in freshman year, I had no plans of going to college, no plans of finishing, no plans of going anywhere. But to walk inside a room and see people smiling, smiling and having college posters all over their walls and like basically bringing you in, and it's almost like a God-given thing. Just put your hands out, and I just took it. And I honestly feel like it was one of the best positions I could ever take in my entire life. And they're pushing me now, even though I'm in my junior year. So that just shows you a little bit about the zone and about me.
Good afternoon. My name is Camby, and I go to the Henderson, and I'm in grade 11. And my situation is kind of like Tyler's. Like, when I first started high school, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. I was confused, and I was like a troubled kid. But like, as soon as I walked into the zone, because I saw all my friends there, I kind of felt like a positive vibe. Like, I seen people doing their work, actually having time to actually get like projects done in classwork, and I just felt accepted. And that was probably the first moment in high school I felt I was safe, and I felt like I could talk about anything without my information getting leaked. And honestly, man, the Scholar athletes and the whole BSA and Miss Collins and everyone behind me, they've been a blessing. They've made my like life so much easier throughout the years. Anytime I needed academic support, they were there for me. And as of now, me trying to apply for college and trying to get my GPA up and my SAT scores, they've been there every single step. And they've been tough on me at times, but like, it's just, they told me it's going to be better for me in the future because I'm going to be able to have like a nice income and provide for my family when I grow up. So I just want to thank them, and they're an amazing organization. And without them, I wouldn't be the man I am today.
The certificate, if we could all come up for a photo, just, this is a certificate just congratulating the BSA, the SA on their work to date, and congratulations on their success and the success of their students. Hold that, Candy. Oh, good job.
Thank you.
Great hair, too.
So thank you, really.
Right, smile. Thank you. Excited to hear about where you end up.
Right after this, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. We will proceed with our business for the day. Madam Clerk, could you please mark that Councilor Campbell is here as well? And we'll start with approval of the minutes from last meeting. Are there any changes or amendments? Seeing and hearing none, the minutes stand approved. And on to communications from His Honor the Mayor.
Docket number 0750, message and order approving supplemental appropriation of $1,191,122 for various departments to cover the FY17 cost items contained within the collective bargaining agreements between the City of Boston and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFL-CIO Council 93, and Locals, AFSCME. The terms of the contract are July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2017, and July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2020. The major provisions of the contract include the base wage increase of 2% effective the first pay period of October of each fiscal year. The agreements also contain other benefits, including a new clothing allowance starting in 2017 and steps beginning in October 2018, filed in the office of the city clerk on May 22nd, 2017.
Docket number 0750 will be assigned to the Committee on Ways and Means.
Docket number 0751, message and order approving a petition for a special law regarding an act relative to a certain affordable housing in the Roxbury section of Boston.
Docket 0751 will be assigned to the Committee on Government Operations.
Docket number 0752, message and order approving a petition for a special law regarding an act relative to certain affordable housing in the Jamaica Plain section of the city of Boston.
Docket 0752 will also be assigned to the Committee on Government Operations. Reports of public officers and others. Madam Clerk, if you could please read all of these dockets together.
Thank you, Madam President. Docket number 0753, notice is received from the city clerk in accordance with Chapter 6 of the ordinances of 1979 regarding action taken by the mayor on papers acted upon by the city council at its meeting of April 26, 2017. Docket number 0754, notice was received from the city clerk in accordance with Chapter 6 of the ordinances of 1979 regarding action taken by the mayor on papers acted upon by the city council at its meeting of May 3rd, 2017. Docket number 0755, notice was received from the city clerk in accordance with Chapter 6 of the ordinances of 1979 regarding actions taken by the mayor on papers acted upon by the city council at its meeting of May 10th, 2017. Docket number 0756, communication was received from Brian P. Golden, Director of the Boston Planning and Development Agency, regarding proposed minor modifications to the Charlestown Urban Renewal Plan Project, number Mass R-55, with respect to parcel R-9B. Docket number 0757, communication was received from Brian P. Golden, Director of the Boston Planning and Development Agency, regarding proposed minor modifications to the Campus High School Urban Renewal Plan, project number Mass R-129, with respect to parcel X-32. Docket number 0758, communication was received from Brian P. Golden, Director of the Boston Planning and Development Agency, regarding proposed minor modifications to the South End Urban Renewal Plan project, number Mass R-56, with respect to parcel X-32. Docket number 0759, communication was received from Ronald Rackow, Commissioner of Assessing, regarding the amended and restated 6A contract between the City of Boston and the CDB Limited Partnership for the 54-unit Dimmick Bragdon Apartments at 121A project.
Thank you. Docket 0753 through 0759 will be placed on file. And Madam Clerk, if we could take a brief detour before reports of committees and take one docket number out of order. I know there's a schedule constraint, so I would like to pull docket 0762 from the motions, orders, and resolutions section to address it now, unless there's an objection. Okay, hearing none. Madam Clerk, could you please read docket 0762 into the record?
Thank you, Madam President. Docket number 0762, Councilor Asabi George offers the following resolution in support of Massachusetts State Senate Budget number 651 and 656 regarding the home base and MRVP program by Senators Chang, Diaz, and Boncourt.
Councilor Sabi George, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you all for the opportunity to take this a little bit earlier. Today, I rise to offer a resolution in support of two Massachusetts state budget amendments, 651 State Senator Sonia Chang Diaz and 656 by Senator Joseph Boncory, both of Boston. As soon as this afternoon, the State Senate will consider these budget amendments, and the outcomes will have a profound impact on Boston families. As of April of 2017, there were approximately 3,500 families in the state emergency shelter system. 61 of these families are sheltered in motels. one of the worst places for any family. Nearly 40% of families in the state shelters come from the city of Boston, the highest number of any region in Massachusetts. Boston families stay in shelter longer and struggle to find stability because the resources that we have at the State House don't meet the demands of our housing market. State Budget Amendments 651 and 656 make MRVP and home base work for Boston families. Home base is a proven investment that supports families transitioning from the shelter system to stable permanent housing. But right now, that benefit only lasts for 12 months and doesn't apply to families leaving substance abuse and domestic violence shelters. Amendment 651 by Senator Chang Diaz would change that. MRVP is the single most important tool in creating stability for families experiencing homelessness, but currently many of them are valued at pre-recession rental rates. That doesn't cut it in the city of Boston. Senator Boncory's Budget Amendment 656 will put $120 million in MRVP and will increase the number of available vouchers and move our homeless families from hotels and shelters into stable homes. This amendment will also make MRVP more usable in the Boston market by increasing the value of the voucher so families can stay in the city. I want to thank the members of the Boston delegation in the House who worked hard to create the MRVP line item from $100 million or to $100 million. I want to thank Senator Chang Diaz for her leadership and Senator Joseph Boncory, who chairs the Senate Committee for Housing, for all of his work. I also want to thank all of the members of the Senate who have signed on to this legislation. I also need to thank Homes for Families and CHAPA, who do incredible work advocating and who are instrumental in supporting these pieces of legislation. Please take a moment today and call or text your state senator and ask them to sign on to these amendments. These investments will help us bring our families home. I move for suspension of the rules and passage of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Sabi George. Would anyone else like to comment or sign on? Madam Clerk, could you please add Councilor Campbell's name? Please add Councilor Siomo, Councilor Baker, Councilor Flaherty, Councilor Jackson, Councilor LaMattina, Councilor Linehan, Councilor McCarthy, Councilor O'Malley, Councilor Presley, Councilor Zachem. Please add the chair's name. At this time, Councilor Sabi George moves for suspension of the rules and adoption of docket number 0762. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0762 has been adopted. Would you like to make a motion, Councilor O'Malley?
Just a brief recess.
Sure. Brief recess. Councilor O'Malley, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, Madam President, I request that we pull out of order docket number 0761.
Is there any objection? Okay, so we're moving all over today. So we will address docket 0761 and then return to the rest of the agenda as scheduled, no changes. But there are some pending, some considerations which Councilor O'Malley will address. So Madam Clerk, could you please read docket 0761?
With great honor, Madam President. Docket number 0761, Councilor O'Malley offers the following resolution, naming the community room of the West Roxbury Branch Library, the Alice B. Hennessy Community.
Councilor O'Malley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you to my colleagues for taking this out of order. We have Bill Hennessy and Alice and Bill's children and her dear, dear friends with us. And given the fact that we've got a lot of budget items coming up, I appreciate you indulging me. West Roxbury and this city lost an absolute legend earlier this year. Alice Hennessy, a friend to all of us. Even if you didn't know her, you knew her work. Passed away. She was just one of the most remarkable individuals I've ever had the great fortune of calling a friend and getting to know. Her career began her career began long before that, but from the city level, She was a very close aide to our dear former departed mayor, Tom Menino. Began working with him while he was the District 5 city councilor. She became the central staff director. Her photo is on the other side of that wall in the library. And then, of course, when Mayor Menino ascended to the mayoralty, she was his director of special projects, and what a career she had. Many of you are familiar with Millennium Park. It's one of my favorite places, not only in the city, I'd say in this country. It's in my district, and growing up, it was literally a dump. That's not an exaggeration. It was a place for trash to be stored. It was a landfill. And because of Alice's leadership and her support and her relationship, her great working relationship with Mayor Menino, she transformed it to an incredible place, 100 acres of open land. That's one of the things she's most known for, but there are so many things that she's not known for because it was her style not to be known for things, just getting the work done. Nelson Mandela has a quote that I just love. It says, "A leader is like a shepherd. He or she stays behind the flock, letting the most nimble go out ahead, whereupon the others follow, not realizing that all along they are being directed from behind." That quotation encapsulates Alice Hennessy. A couple of years ago, Patch.com did a contest for the mayor of West Roxbury. Many of you are familiar with it, and the editor at the time, David Erdeshek, asked me for names, so I, of course, said Richard Gormley, who we all know is the Lord Mayor, and a whole host of names for this election. One of the nominees I made was Alice Hennessy. And I don't even know if her family knows this, but she was a nominee for a day or two, and she called me. It was the only time she was ever cross with me. She said, "Why did you give my name?" I said, "Alice, you've done so much for the neighborhood. I mean, who doesn't embody civic engagement and spirit?" And she said, "I don't do it for the credit. Take my name off." So I had to call David Erdeshek and get Alice's name removed. She was just remarkable, and her legacy is also with us. Her husband, Bill, her partner for so many years, a educator in the Boston Public Schools, a great guy, her children who are with us. Thank you for sharing your mother, your spouse, with the entire city of Boston, because she was just a remarkable leader. So the Friends of the West Roxbury Branch Library, many of whom are with us today, had inquired about naming the community room at the West Roxbury Branch the Alice G. Hennessy Community Room. I said that this is just one of what I hope will be many, many tributes to a remarkable woman, because she co-founded the Friends of the West Roxbury Branch Library in 1974 to support staff and help with children's story time when her children were young. She guided the expansion of the library in the late 80s, something I remember vividly, and from that came this community room, which you have all been to, particularly the at-large counselors, and to name it for Alice. And we found out this week that in the budget, money has been allocated to help spruce it up a little bit. Hopefully we can get more, but I think it'll be a fitting tribute. She's just, it's a very small way to really reflect on her legacy that is so vast and so deep. So to name a room after someone, it has to go through a fairly arduous process, the first being an act of this council, which is why there is a resolution before you today that I'll be asking you, all invited to sign on. If anyone wants to say any words, please do so, but I will be asking for suspension and passage of this resolution today. Mayor Walsh, who's already agreed, he may have already done his support letter as well as the second part of the stool, and then it goes to the board of the Boston Public Library Board, which I believe is scheduled for the fall, September. I think they'll be doing it. But I just wanted to, again, thank the Hennessy family and Alice's dear friends, what Alice and the Hennessys have done for the community, for the library, for West Roxbury Friends of Rosie's Place, which is one of her greatest lasting legacies, that is a transformative program. She is a true daughter of this city. We miss her deeply and dearly, and we are better people because of what she has given us and what you all have shared with us as well. So thank you again to my colleagues for taking this out of turn, and I will be asking for suspension and adoption of the resolution at the conclusion of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Madam Clerk, could you please add Councilor Flaherty's name, Councilor Jackson, Councilor LaMattina, Councilor Linehan, Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Presley, Councilor Zachem, Councilor Baker, Councilor Campbell, Councilor Siomo, Councilor Sabi George. Did I skip Councilor LaMattina? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor LaMattina, and please add the chair's name too. At this time, Councilor O'Malley moves for suspension of the rules and adoption of docket 0761. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. I believe Counselor Baker. Counselor Baker meant to doubt the vote, Madam Clerk. Could you please call the roll on docket 0761?
Docket number 0761. Counselor Baker. Yes. Counselor Campbell. Counselor Siomo. Counselor Asabi George. Counselor Flaherty. Counselor Jackson. Counselor Lamatina. Counselor Linehan. Counselor McCarthy. Counselor O'Malley. Counselor Presley. Counselor Wu.
Yes.
And Counselor Zakin. Madam President, docket number 0761 has been unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Docket 0761 has been adopted with a unanimous vote of the council. Returning to our regular order of business, reports of committees, Madam Clerk. And with the Chairman of Ways and Means' consent, we'll read all of these dockets together from 0544 all the way through, oh yes, apologies, 0544 on its own, and then we'll address the rest of the dockets.
Thank you, Madam President. Docket number 0544, the Committee on Ways and Means and the Committee on Government Operations, to which were jointly referred on April 12, 2017. Docket number 0544, message and order for your approval, an ordinance authorizing certain revolving funds in accordance with provisions of the General Law, Chapter 4453E and a half, as amended by Chapter 218 of the Acts of 2016, the Municipal Modernization Act, submits a report recommending the ordinance ought to pass.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on Government Operations, Councilor Flaherty.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move for a substitution of the committee report with respect to docket 0544. The updated report is on everyone's desk. No changes have been made to the docket itself. There's just a clarification within the report. Unfortunately, the BPD K-9 fund was inadvertently left out of the initial report. For those that remember, docket 0544 is an ordinance authorizing certain revolving funds in accordance with the provisions of General Law, Chapter 4453E1-2, as amended, Chapter 218 of the Acts of 216, the Municipal Modernization Act. While this matter was sponsored by Mayor Walsh, it had been presented as an ordinance. It deals with the allocation of city budget, the city budget funds. As a result, it was jointly assigned to both the Committee on Government Operations and the Committee on Ways and Means back on April the 12th of 2017. And the matter pertains to the uses of revolving funds for a variety of departments, which must be authorized via this ordinance as a result of the passage and the implementation of the Municipal Modernization Act recently up at the State House. So the City Council must first vote before July 1st on each of these authorizations, as well as the amount that is to be spent from each fund during the fiscal year. The public hearing that we had was held on April the 24th, and the following revolving funds are seeking a variety of authorizations for funding: Public Art, Strand Theater, City Hall Child Care, BPS Transportation, BPS Facilities, BPS Technology, Solar Renewable Energy Certificates, Animal Control, Third-Party Property Damages, City Hall Plaza, Police Academy, BPD K-9 Unit, BPD Fitness Center, BPD Hackney Division. At the hearing, Kate Hammer, the Budget Director for the City of Boston, testified on behalf of the administration, and topics included how the Municipal Modernization Act works with respect to these revolving funds, an overview of each of the categories that have been proposed, revenue that is being generated from interest, and how those expenditures are made and processed. So I ask that everyone refer to the committee report to view each of the details for each fund. And at this time, as Chair of Government Operations, I move that docket 0544, authorizing certain revolving funds in accordance with the Mass General laws as amended, ought to be passed, and would like to defer if the Chair of Ways and Means has any additional comments, given that it was a joint hearing as well. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Counselor Flaherty. I know we'll address all of the docket revolving funds together. Because this one was jointly assigned, we'll vote on this one first. Counselor Sioma, did you want to comment on docket 0544?
Thank the chair and all of our colleagues who participated in a very comprehensive review of all these revolving funds. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Siomo. First, though, we do need to address the motion by Counselor Flaherty to substitute an updated version of the committee report. Is there any objection? No? Okay, so we will be voting to accept the revised committee report and pass docket 0544. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Docket 0544 has been passed. And now, Madam Clerk, if you could please read the rest of the dockets in this section together.
Docket number 0545, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017. Docket number 0545, message and order authorizing the Law Department revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 to purchase goods and services for repairs to city property, which shall be funded by receipts from recoveries for damage of city property caused by third parties, from which the Law Department shall be the only unit authorized to expend from, and the funds and such expenditures shall be capped at $500,000. Submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. Docket number 0546, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017, docket number 0546. Message and order authorizing a limit for the Environment Department revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 to facilitate the purchase of offsets of greenhouse gas emissions, which shall be associated with a portion of the electricity consumed by the city annually, as well as to operate and maintain the city's existing solar facilities and to expand the city's generating capacity, which shall be credited with any and all receipts from the sale of solar renewable energy certificates produced by the city's solar photovoltaic arrays, and from which receipts and resulting expenditures shall not exceed $250,000. Submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. Docket number 0547, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017, docket number 0547. Message and order authorizing a city, authorizing a limit for the Mayor's Office of Tourism revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 to purchase goods and services to support efforts and programming on and around City Hall Plaza, to advance tourism and to promote participation in public celebrations, civic and cultural events, which shall be funded by receipts from payments for the use of City Hall Plaza pursuant to the City of Boston Code Ordinance 11-17.14, and from which the Mayor's Office of Tourism will be the only unit authorized to expend such expenditures, shall be capped at $150,000. Submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. Docket number 0548, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017, docket number 0548. Message and order authorizing a limit for the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 to purchase goods and services to support public art to enhance the public realm throughout the city of Boston, which shall be funded by receipts from easements within the public way granted by the Public Improvements Commission, and from which the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture will be the only unit authorized to expend, and such expenditures will be capped at $150,000. Submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. Docket number 0549, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017, docket number 0549. Message and order authorizing a limit for the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 to purchase goods and services to support the operation of the Strand Theater, which shall be funded by receipts from rental fees for the use of the Strand Theater, and from which the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture will be the only unit authorized to expend, and such expenditures shall be capped at $150,000. Submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. Docket number 0560, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017. Docket number 0560, message and order authorizing a limit for the Environment Department revolving fund for fiscal year 2017 to facilitate the purchase of offsets of greenhouse gas emissions, which shall be associated with a portion of the electricity consumed by the city annually, as well as to promote and maintain the city's existing solar facility and to expand the city's generating capacity, which shall be credited with any and all receipts from the sale of solar renewable energy certificates produced by the city's solar photovoltaic arrays, and from which receipts and resulting expenditures shall not exceed $250,000. Submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. Docket number 0550, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017. Docket number 0550. Message and order authorizing a limit from the Boston Public Schools revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 to support the maintenance and repairs for BPS facilities, including custodial and utility costs for extended building time, floor refinishing, landscaping, and building repairs, into which receipts from lease permit for use and parking fees for BPS facilities will be deposited, and from which the BPS will be the only unit authorized to expend such expenditures, and they shall not exceed $2,600,000. Submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. The Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017, docket number 0551, message and order authorizing a limit for the Boston Public Schools revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 to repair and purchase Boston Public Schools computer technology, including computers, mobile devices, and instructional services, which shall be credited with any and all receipts from the equipment sale and repair fees for Boston Public Schools technology, and from which receipts and resulting expenditures shall not exceed $1,500,000. Submits a report recommending that the order ought to pass. Docket number 0552, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017. Docket number 0552, message and order authorizing a limit for the Boston Public Schools revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 for Boston Public Schools transportation costs, including bus and public transportation costs, which shall be credited with revenue received by Boston Public School Department for the provisions of transportation to groups and entities for field trips and activities other than transportation to and from school, and from which receipts and resulting expenditures shall not exceed $125,000. Submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. Docket number 0559, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017. Docket number 0559, message and order authorizing a limit for the Boston Public Schools revolving fund for fiscal year 2017 to support the maintenance and repair for BPS facilities, including custodial and utility costs for extended building time, floor refinishing, landscaping, and building repairs, into which from lease permit use for parking fees for Boston Public Schools facilities will be deposited, and from which BPS will be the only unit authorized to expend such expenditures. They shall not exceed $2,600,000. Submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. Docket number 0555, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017. Docket number 0555, message and order authorizing a limit for the Boston Police Department revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 to support training programs for officers from non-City of Boston law enforcement agencies, into which receipts from tuition charged by the academy for each recruit police officer or special police officer sent to the academy by outside law enforcement agencies will be deposited, which will be used to purchase training equipment, certifying instructors, update facilities, and to provide funds for training needs not otherwise budgeted, and from which the police academy will be the only unit authorized to expend, and such expenditures shall be capped at $100,000, submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. Docket number 0556, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017. Docket number 0556, message and order authorizing a limit from the Boston Police Department revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 to support the K-9 unit's training program for officers and dogs from non-City of Boston law enforcement agencies, into which receipts from tuition and other fee charged by Special Operating Division to outside law enforcement agencies for the K-9 unit will be deposited, which will be used to purchase training equipment, certify instructors, update facilities, and provide funds for other training needs not otherwise budgeted, and from which the Special Operations Division will be the only unit authorized to expend from the fund, and such expenditures shall be capped at $75,000. Submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. Docket number 0557, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017. Docket number 0557, message and order authorizing a limit for the Boston Police Department revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 for the purpose of purchasing, leasing, or renting space, materials, and equipment to be partially or wholly used for instructional purposes for new Hackney carriage driver applications, and providing funds for other training needs not otherwise budgeted for, from which receipts and resulting expenditures shall not exceed $100,000, submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. Docket number 0558, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017. Docket number 0558. Message and order authorizing a limit for the Boston Police Department revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 to pay salaries and benefits of employees and to purchase supplies and equipment necessary to operate the police department's fitness center, for which revenue is derived from monthly membership fees, and from which receipts and resulting expenditures from this fund shall not exceed $250,000. Submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. Docket number 0554, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017. Docket number 0554. Message and order authorizing a limit for the Boston Center for Youth and Families, known as BCYF, revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 to pay salaries and benefits of employees to purchase supplies and equipment necessary to operate the City Hall child care, which shall be credited with any and all receipts from tuition paid by parents or guardians for school enrolled at the center, and from which receipts and resulting expenditures shall not exceed $750,000, submits a report recommending the order ought to pass. And docket number 0553, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 12, 2017, docket number 0553. Message and order authorizing a limit for the Inspectional Services Department revolving fund for the fiscal year 2018 to reimburse for administrative costs to those agencies which enforce CBC Chapter 16, Section 1.9 and 1.9b, and for costs associated with licensing and registration, which shall be credited with receipts for all dog registration fees collected pursuant to Chapter 18, Section 1.4, 6.10, and fines pursuant to CBC Chapter 16, Section 1.9 and 1.9b, and from which receipts resulting expenditures shall not exceed $300,000, submits a report recommending the order ought to pass.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. On docket 0545 through 0560, in the order just read, Chair recognizes Chair of the Committee on Ways and Means, Counselor Siomo.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Madam Clerk. You did most of my work, so thank you. So these matters were sponsored in conjunction with the full budget on April 12, 2017. This enabling legislation, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half of the Mass General Law, requires annual authorization of the not-to-exceed limit. The first revolving fund hearings were held on April 24th, following the Administration and Finance budget overview. There were 6 revolving funds that we reviewed at that time because they weren't associated with any other department that was subsequently coming before us. Following that one hearing, we reviewed the remaining revolving funds as they were associated with Boston Public Schools, Boston Police Department, and other departments that we reviewed. We have improved the substance of the reports on these funds to include detailed financial information. The review and reporting format that we have established continues to improve transparency and accountability in the annual review and authorization of these funds. I'd like to thank my colleagues for participating in a very comprehensive review process of these revolving funds, and I now recommend that these revolving funds pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Siomo. Would anyone else like to comment? Okay, then we will act on Counselor Siomo's motion to accept the committee reports and take each docket one by one for the vote, starting with docket 0545. On docket 0545, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. 0545 has been passed. For docket 0546, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0546 has been passed. On docket 0547, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Docket 0547 has been passed. On 0548, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. 0548 has been passed. For docket 0549, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0549 has been passed. On docket 0560, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0560 has been passed. For docket 0550, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0550 has been passed. Docket 0551, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0551 has been passed. On docket 0552, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0552 has been passed. For docket 0559, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0559 has been passed. On docket 0555, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0555 has been passed. On docket 0556, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0556 has been passed. For docket 0557, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0557 has been passed. On docket 0558, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0558 has been passed. For docket 0554, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0554 has been passed. And finally, docket 0553, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0553 has been passed. Matters recently heard for possible action.
Docket number 0536 through 0543. Audits for the FY18 operating budget, including annual appropriation for departmental operations, annual appropriations to the school department, and appropriations for other post-employment benefits known as OPEB, capital budget appropriations, including loan orders and lease and purchase agreements.
Docket number, a range of dockets from 0536 through 0543 will remain in the Committee on Ways and Means. Motions, orders, and resolutions.
Docket number 0760, Councilor Jackson offered the following: an ordinance for creating the Sanctuary School Act.
Councilor Jackson, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam President. And I want to thank my colleagues for unanimously passing a resolution earlier this year to let families in the city of Boston know that we support them. I also want to thank Councilor Josh Zachem for his thoughtful, steadfast, and forward-leaning support of immigrant families in the city of Boston. I also want to thank Mayor Walsh for the work that he has done around immigrant families and ensuring that we are a safe and welcoming city to those who are undocumented, as well as those who are documented in the city of Boston. Immigrants make up about $12 billion in our state economy and are a critical part of our city. We have 57,000 students, over that actually, in the Boston Public Schools. And recently at a hearing, one of the school officials who was sitting where my colleague, Councilor Flaherty, is sitting, noted that nearly 60% of the students in the Boston Public Schools have a parent that is actually speaks a language other than English. We have an amazing and robust school system that is made up of beautiful and valuable families. And so I put this forward because we need to bring our city's policies in line with Attorney General Maura Healey's recent guidance. It is critical that we step forward as a council and let families know that ICE and other federal agencies are not allowed into our schools unless they follow specific procedures, that our young people will be safe in those schools. And this is essentially codifying, again, Attorney General Maura Healey's recent guidance and actually an extension of the resolution that we have already voted on. It is our job to understand and note that ICE has actually taken action in many other states, has actually taken to custody many parents. And what happens in those communities is that people go into darkness. They remove their children from the schools, and there is generally a run in those neighborhoods and communities where people no longer have the supports. Children are no longer learning, and families are living in fear. That is not what we are and who we are in the city of Boston. So that is why I put this forward, Madam President. And I remind us, in the words of a Bostonian who we all know and love, Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., that the ultimate measure of a man is not, also woman also, the ultimate measure of a man or woman is not where he or she stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he or she stands at times of challenge and controversy. That's where we stand right now. We stand with a federal administration who is essentially turning its back and not extending TPS for our Haitian brothers and sisters only for 6 months, not for the full 18 months. We stand with a federal administration that is increasing the numbers relative to ICE apprehensions. And it is our job to ensure that the most vulnerable among us, the young people in the Boston Public Schools, are safe, that their families feel safe, and that we listen to the voices of the young people who sat before us at that hearing and said that they didn't feel safe, that the teachers who let us know that young people were bringing toys into school because they didn't think they were going to go home. That does not communicate to me that people feel safe. It is our job as a city council to ensure that they really are safe and that we can actually give them a real answer that they will be safe in the schools and in the doors of the Boston Public Schools. I appreciate the opportunity and I look forward to moving this quickly. And so we are moving at the speed of what's going on in our country right now, in our neighborhoods and communities in the city of Boston. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Jackson. Councilor Zachem, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank Councilor Jackson for bringing this forward, and I want to, as he mentioned, the extension of TPS for our Haitian neighbors. I want to thank you and this body for the action we took on that last week, and just say that, we sometimes, I feel that whether it's in matters of legislation, ordinances, or resolutions we take up here that often reach far beyond Boston. We sometimes, I think amongst ourselves and from some of our constituents, feel that we're not having the impact that we need to have. And I think last week shows, and the decision from the Homeland Security Secretary and the Trump administration to extend that status, although not by any means a perfect solution, is important. And I think underscores how vital our advocacy can be on some of these issues, and falls right directly into Councilor Jackson's proposed legislation here. I think it's incredibly important that young people in our school system feel safe coming to school, that their parents can feel safe picking them up. Under the prior presidential administration, under President Obama, there was a sensitive locations policy for Immigration and Customs Enforcement that, absent instances of real threats to public safety, they would not go into schools, hospitals, houses of worship, etc. The Trump administration has thrown that policy out. They really are not respecting any sort of modes of decency or reasonableness in their pursuit to root out folks that they think should not be in our country and in our communities. So I look forward to a hearing on this. I actually met with a great group of young advocates on this legislation just yesterday, who were talking about the impacts they feel in their communities, amongst their classmates, friends, family, parents. I think we need to do everything we can. It's very important that, as with many things around immigration, a lot of the constitutional protections that we enjoy we need to make sure that they extend to others. That when Immigration and Customs Enforcement or any federal agency or any police agency attempts to enter a building, they need permission from the owner. In this case, the Boston Public Schools Department or the City of Boston, just as if they knocked on your door absent a search warrant. And they often do this without warrant. They often show up and they intimidate people, confuse people to do this, and it's absolutely something we can't have in our schools. So I look forward to a hearing. I would certainly like to hear what the Boston Public Schools' current policy on this matter is and how they see implementing it. I think in Councilor Jackson's legislation there is an important item about training, which is just as important. I know both members of this body, the city, they regularly have Know Your Rights type clinics upstairs. Other immigrant advocacy organizations like MIRA, the ACLU, PAIR, and others have really been running almost nonstop Know Your Rights clinics. And it's really important that city employees, particularly those in our schools who have responsibility for our young people, are aware of their rights. The simple rights that we all have under the U.S. Constitution, under federal and state law, that should be exercised. So please add my name to this. I look forward to a hearing and working for a policy that complies with both our obligations to the people and the students of Boston and the extent of our rights under federal and state laws. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Zachem. Madam Clerk, could you please add Councilor Zachem's name? And Councilor Presley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to commend the maker and ask to have my name added. And just echoing the words of Councilor Zachem here, in that we are in uncharted waters and new terrain and all trying to figure out how to navigate this. I would also just add that, we certainly agree that healthy students are better learners, and the health of every student is compromised and undermined when our students are living in fear. Further, we have seen councils throughout the country that are taking similar action, and not only for our elementary and high schools, but sanctuary campuses for our colleges and sanctuary restaurants. And so this is a trend that is happening throughout the country. And for this body, it is an opportunity to explore ways in which we can restate, renew, and double down to ensure that our students feel safe and that they really do have sanctuary. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Presley. Madam Clerk, please add Councilor Presley's name. Please add Councilor LaMattina. Please add Councilor O'Malley, Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Flaherty, Councilor Siomo, and Councilor Campbell. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I just rise to thank Councilor Jackson. Obviously, he filed a hearing order to discuss this very issue. And we actually had a really incredible hearing with incredible youth. And his team put together a hearing that allowed not only students to come forward, but also teachers to express their concerns around ICE and the fears their students feel every single day. I will say it's a bit frustrating because after that hearing, we all asked some poignant questions. Questions about whether or not, for example, declaring BPS a sanctuary system or school sanctuary schools, what impact that would have in reality for our students, and we hadn't heard anything back from that. I also had some poignant questions about the legality of some of the current policies and whether or not we could change those, whether or not we could actually require ICE to do anything, and we haven't heard back from that. I think BPS is having ongoing conversations, but it is a bit frustrating that they haven't moved faster. So I applaud Councilor Jackson for bringing this forward again. I look forward to the hearing, and I do hope there's someone to offer some legal perspective on some of the questions in this ordinance that pertain strictly to whether or not we have the legal authority to do some of this stuff. As a former education attorney, I do know that BPS in schools across the state are not allowed to ask about students' immigration status when they come here. Every child who comes to the city of Boston has a right to enroll in our system. So I don't know that we necessarily need to include that, but I do think it's worth having a discussion. I want to thank Councilor Jackson for continuing to bring this issue forward. And I do hope that BPS comes to the hearing with some legal analysis, but also has answers to questions that many of us raised at the hearing that Councilor Jackson held months ago. So thank you. Please do add my name. And thank you, Councilor Jackson, for your work.
Thank you, Councilor Campbell. Madam Clerk, please add Councilor Campbell's name. Please add the chair's name. Councilor Jackson, did you have a follow-up?
Yes, I did. I just wanted to concur with Councilor Campbell. BPS has not answered the questions that you asked, that Councilor Presley asked, or that I asked. And we're going into the end of the school year. And there's an urgency that we need to move with. I also want to note that this was not my idea. I want to credit the young people at St. Stephen's who hosted a conference with well over 200 folks who came together and drove this. I happen to be simply a vessel to bring this forward, to actually have the voices of young people, their families, and I want to credit teachers who came out and were with us until 9 o'clock to have a conversation about what's happening in their classrooms, in their schools, and to their students. So this is really a community-driven effort, and I think it's important in these uncharted territories and in this unprecedented time that we use the force and the might of this council to protect the most vulnerable among us. And when I hear and consistently hear from young people at St. Stephen's and other organizations as well as schools that there is still this fear, I think it is critical that we step forward in these uncharted waters and actually lean in, that we actually put the strength of this council and stand forward and be just as bold as the individuals who are working against those who are undocumented in our willingness to ensure that our young people, again, not only are safe, but also feel safe and that their families feel the same way. Thank you so much, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor Jackson. Docket number 0760 will be assigned to the Committee on Government Operations. Personnel orders.
Docket number 0763, Councilor Wu offered the following order.
Chair moves for suspension of the rules and passage of docket 0763. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0763 has been passed. I am informed by the clerk that there's one late filed matter from the administration in the hands of the clerk, which in the absence of objection will be added to the agenda. Hearing none, Madam Clerk, could you please read the first late filed?
Thank you, Madam President. On May 23rd, 2017, the Honorable Maureen Feeney. Dear Madam Clerk, please note that I will be out of town from 6 a.m. on Wednesday, May 24th until 4:15 p.m. on Wednesday, May 24th. Please let me know if you have any questions. Sincerely, Martin J. Walsh, Mayor of Boston.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The first late filed matter, or the only late filed matter, will be placed on file. We have two late filed matters for the consent agenda, which will be added in the absence of objection. Hearing none, Chair moves adoption of the consent agenda. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. The consent agenda has been adopted. Would anyone like to pull a matter from the green sheets? Okay, we'll take a brief pause for statements or announcements. Councilor O'Malley, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Madam President. It's been a tough couple months in District 6, and one of the people for whom we'll be closing in memory of today is Mary Mulvey Jacobson, a friend to all. To talk about Alice earlier in the meeting and now Mary, it just shows that, we've lost some remarkable leaders. Mary was the chief of staff for Mara Hennigan, the first District 6 city councilor, and she was one of the most hardworking and tenacious people I've ever known. She was very involved in the Irish Social Club, in the revival of the Irish Social Club. I often joke that my first ordinance passed was getting a liquor license for the Irish Social Club, a liquor license which, by the way, because of time constraints, some of you were here, not all, but all of you will be able to know who I'm not naming. Because of time constraints with the legislature and the home rule petition, we needed to pass it on one certain day, the day that we were introducing it, and so we had to suspend rules and pass. One former member was going to object for unsure why, but he was, and Mary Mulvey was able to convince him not to, and that was no small feat. She was so involved with Ethos, which is a senior citizen advocacy organization, the Ward 19 Democrats. The Gardens of Gethsemane does an amazing Memorial Day service. They're doing it this Monday that Mary was the quarterback for. She was just she was a wonderful, wonderful friend to all, a dear friend to me, and we lost her last week. The services will be tomorrow and Friday, and I just wanted to just simply remark on her passing and her incredible life. Some of you, I know Councilor Councilor Asabi George was there. We named a room at the YMCA, another organization that she was very involved in getting the new the Parkway Y, which is wonderful. We named after her. She was in hospice care and unable to come, but she did Skype, and it was great. And there were probably 4,000 people in this YMCA just wishing Mary well, and she'll just be deeply missed. So thank you for letting me say a couple words about her.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Councilor Presley, for what purpose do you rise?
For the same reason. I just wanted to say on May 20th, a little piece of the soul of West Roxbury died, and many hearts, including mine, broke a little. Mary, she was a political operative, but she was really just someone in constant service, And I remember when I was sort of getting introduced around the neighborhood, she was just so warm and so accessible, and I remember her putting me to work right away, delivering turkeys and, various things. And so I just wanted to echo the words of Councilor O'Malley and so many, and just say that she will be sorely missed, and we thank her for her contributions to the Parkway, to the Y, to Ethos, to the Irish Social Club, and I just want to say well done, and rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Presley. Anyone else? Okay, then I do want to take this moment on behalf of all of us to congratulate our colleague, Councilor McCarthy, who just graduated this last weekend with his master's of have an MPA in our midst from Suffolk, and I want to ask everyone to stay after the meeting. We'll take a graduation picture and do both serious and not serious versions for you to have. And I think that's it for announcements. So at this time, if all councilors and guests could please rise. Today, the council will adjourn our meeting in memory of the following individuals. For Councilor Siomo, Sister Dorothy McCarthy of the Sisters of St. Joseph, and Anne M. McLaughlin. For Councilor Flaherty, Ed McKenna, and Patricia A. Watts. For Councilor Sabi George, Veronica M. Tibbetts. For Councilor O'Malley, Mildred Wilsinski. And for all councilors, Robert Callery, the Boston Public Works employee, and Mary Mulvey Jacobson. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. Chair moves that when the council adjourns today, we do so in memory of the aforementioned individuals. We're scheduled to meet again Wednesday, June 7th at 12 noon. All in favor of adjournment say aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Council is adjourned. Let's take a picture with Tim.